Now who gotta move rockin' on? Now who wanna move crossin' on? Now who wanna move out on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock 'em, yeah we got 'em, yeah we fought 'em. Like that black and orange up on 'em, bingo bottle, never stop it. To the beast and know 'em. Who they rockin' with the diamond stripes, flossin' on the ring. Cincinnati, she's our queen, we gon' show the world.
What's up everybody? This is Ted Karras for the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cincy Hat, and you're watching Bengals and Brews.
Well, thank you, Ted, for starting the show off for us. I am Del Lautman, joined by some other co-hosts here, some fine gentlemen, and Pork Chop, the BSG, and our guy, Dustin, or he's now Jaden Thomas for life, whoever that is.
Hey, it's the UNLV running back that we talked
that
about.
Guy you showed me. All right. That was what I was thinking, but I've already forgot his name because I can't keep up with all these guys, man. There's so much going on, and the Bengals will be making the cut down to the 53, but that has already started. So Greg was telling us right before the show. Greg, you got a couple of cuts that have already taken place for the Bengals to tell us about.
Tom Pelissero said nose tackle McTelvin Agaman. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Agim, or something like that. That's how I say it. But
yeah, he got cut, and another guy in the guard. You told me Andrew Stuber, reported by Aaron Wilson, also got cut. So the cuts are coming in right now. Well,
yep, cuts are starting to roll in. We're going to go through, talk about 53-man roster, talk about the practice squad. Those are two guys that I'm not even sure if the Bengals would want on the practice squad, and cutting them this early probably supports that notion, to be honest, but maybe they do. Maybe it depends who else gets claimed that they wanted to get on the practice squad. You have 16 practice squad spots. You got to cut your roster down to 53. There's always a little roster gymnastics, maybe with a guy going injured reserve that you initially keep or don't keep, and then you got to deal with a veteran. We've seen that in the past with guys like Mike Thomas and who's the receiver we've had. They've done that with him before. He's not here anymore. The mac and cheese commercial, long hair guy, Trenton Irwin.
Oh, Trenton Irwin, yeah.
Yeah.
Mac and cheese commercial. That's going way back.
Yeah.
But, let's just jump right in at the quarterback position, an easy position to predict a 53. Sorry, Greg. But your guy, what? Desmond Ridder, going 8 for 20 in the preseason game with a pick six. He's not it. But it's Joe Burrow, Jake Browning. They're keeping two quarterbacks on the 53. Cut and dry. I don't think anyone would disagree. Ridder, maybe to the practice squad.
Yeah.
Peyton Thorne's still around. Maybe they want Peyton Thorne on the practice squad. But this is also a position that I could see them picking up a guy like Brett Rapine, who was cut by the Vikings. Dorian Thompson-Robinson was cut by the Eagles, guy who's been on the Browns in the past, that the Bengals had a lot of interest in coming out during the draft. So I think there's a couple names there. Kyle McCord was cut today, also by the Eagles. So there's just some guys. Now, some like McCord, why wouldn't he just sign back with Philadelphia if he's going to be on a practice squad? So he may not necessarily want to, hey, I'll go to the Bengals and be on that practice squad instead of Philly. That's one of those things. We'll see how many want to actually move cities and not stay on the practice squad. But I could see Thompson Robinson, if McCord's their practice squad quarterback, Thompson Robinson definitely moving on elsewhere. And I think he would make a lot of sense for the Bengals. Still a young guy, too. So if they don't want to go with Ridder on the practice squad, I think Dorian Thompson-Robinson is a guy to definitely keep an eye on. Chop, I'll toss it over to you. Your thoughts on the quarterback for the practice squad, quarterback for the 53, any disagreements, thoughts, etc.?
0 quarterbacks. Joe Burrow, Jake Browning, and then it can be either one of those guys on the practice squad. My guess is that the Bengals let both of them cut both of them and see if any of them get signed anywhere. Probably Desmond Ridder's got the better chance of getting signed somewhere out of the people that we got just because he's got NFL starting experience. But I don't care. Jake Browning, Joe Burrow, that's been the show for the last few years, and I'm ready to go with it.
He did punch himself square in the nuts.
He did.
And that's a perfect time to toss it down to Greg. Greg, Desmond Ridder, what do you think?
Dude, I mean, like I say, even for the practice squad, I have doubts right now. I mean, as much as I love Ridder, I loved how he carried himself at UC. Clearly just didn't have the luck in the NFL. I'll say this right now, Dale. Like you said, Dorian Thompson, I remember the Bengals were so high on him in the draft. It would not surprise me at all. And I thought Dorian Thompson, it was Cleveland for fuck's sakes. And I thought times he started, he didn't do such a bad job. But when you're in a quarterback carousel for Cleveland, you're in a shit show anyway. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Ridder's out somewhere else and we sign Dorian Thompson. That would to the practice squad. That would not shock me one bit at all.
Dustin?
Kyle McCord does intrigue me because I think Eagles went ahead and acquired Sam Howell, right, from the Vikings.
Yes, I think so.
I believe
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah, so I think like if you want to go somewhere to get developed, I think the Bengals have a pretty good track record. So I wonder that would be an intriguing name to me.
Well, in Syracuse, didn't they spread it out a lot? And he threw the ball a ton, and that's kind of what the Bengals do. So I mean, it wouldn't be a bad fit for him personally. I wouldn't think to develop.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's such a good point to bring up. Just like the stylistically, he would fit very well. I mean. Yeah, Ritter. Sorry, Greg. It just one thing I noticed with him, it just looks like there wasn't it just doesn't look like he has confidence, like that fire, that moxie's not there that he had at UC. So I don't know what will happen with him, but I kind of would like for the Bengals to go in a direction of developing somebody like Kyle McCord.
Younger the better. I mean, if it's Dorian Thompson-Robinson, it's pretty young. I know Ritter's not super old, but like you said, his confidence just looks shot, and he just doesn't look like an NFL quarterback right now at all to even develop how badly he looked in the preseason.
I'll say this about Ritter. I still think Ritter would make a great coach someday. I think
there you go. Hey, nothing wrong with that.
I think he would be a great coach just because of his work ethic and all that and stuff. I would take. I mean, if I were Ritter right now, see what happens. But if he can get like a coaching job somewhere, I'd be full support with him on that.
Yeah.
Hey, it's definitely not being a homer crip if me and Dustin, who are Buckeyes fans, are saying Kyle McCord because he left the Buckeyes. So to be fair.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Another quarterback that left the Buckeyes, Joe Burrow. So let's keep it going, man.
Yeah, there you go. We will move on to running back. Quarterback's pretty cut and dry. I think running back's pretty cut and dry, but there was a very interesting player named Kendall Milton that tossed himself at least into a conversation. I don't think they keep 4, but there should be a conversation because that's how good he looked. I think he had 8 carries, 72 yards. I mean, that's pretty good. 9 yards per carry. I'd take that all day, every day. His cutting, he's got really good size. The vision looked excellent. There is a lot to like with Kendall Milton, but I think the Bengals on the 53-man roster will keep 3. I'm still sticking with that for right now. I think that's Chase Brown, it's Taj Brooks, it's Samaje Perine. I think they're locked into the top 3 spots, and they're going to roll with that. But I think they would absolutely love to keep Kendall Milton on the practice squad, and I think they would like to keep Gary Brightwell on the practice squad. Also, I think one or both. If they get Milton, maybe they don't keep Brightwell. But if Milton goes elsewhere, it's not a doubt in my mind it's Brightwell. And I wouldn't be surprised having 16 spots that they keep both of them because running back, that's a position that gets a lot of wear and tear. So having 2 on your practice squad is not a bad idea. Brightwell, what I know Dustin really likes his burst. Just the returnability in general, I think, is great to have on the practice squad because we already had Jermaine Burton injured. A guy like Charlie Jones has an injury history that is very lengthy. So a lot of your returners are already injured. Having a guy like Brightwell on your practice squad to call up for a few games or be on your 53 makes a lot of sense. So that's how I view the running back room. Chop, how do you view the running back room for the roster and the practice squad?
Well, Dale, everything you said pretty much spot on, buddy. It's like, the top 3 are set. To be honest, I think that Taj Brooks is going to be like the number 2. I think it's going to be Chase and Taj going to be your main backs, and I think Perine's going to come in as your 3rd down back. That's how I feel like it's going to shake out. And then as far as the Brightwell and Milton, both of them look good, but like you said, Brightwell's got the return ability. I think Milton looked really good in that last preseason game. But whichever one ends up on the practice squad, I'm cool with. Probably Brightwell because of the return ability. He's probably got the edge, but man, Milton did look good on Saturday, didn't he?
For sure. Greg?
Yeah, you know what? Dale, the fact that we're arguing what running back's going to be on the practice squad, that's a good argument to have right there because we're set with the first 3. But, Milton, man, hey, Dale, I was high on Milton coming out of the draft. I'm like, wow, he really didn't have much playing time, but this guy obviously would have plenty of juice left in him and all that. But Brightwell had a good preseason too. I think Milton would get more attention to get picked up by another team, but Brightwell did a good job too. But yeah, like I said, keep both on the practice squad. Absolutely. But yeah, Kendall Milton, man, he came out of nowhere near the end and really, really stepped up, man, big time. So obviously can keep both. That's great. We'll see where we go from there.
Yeah, agree with everything you're saying. Would you guys say this is one of the deeper running back rooms that we've had over the last 5 years, 6 years?
It feels pretty damn good because Taj Brooks has shown more as a pass catcher than I saw at Texas Tech, who just didn't utilize him doing that. And I really like a lot with him. We know Samaje, the vet, who's very good in pass protection, also can catch passes out of the backfield, dependable, been here, has chemistry with Burrow. And then, these guys we're talking about that we want to keep around on the practice squad, we would feel good if Kendall Milton had to come in and give you some carries in a game. Yeah. If Gary Brightwell had to come in and be your returner for a game, I would feel real good about those things. So yes. I do think that's a good point, Dustin. Anything else on those guys too?
I would have no hesitation if one of our running backs go down, like Kendall Milton, bringing him up to serve a role. I would feel very confident we wouldn't miss a beat.
Dalton Stone, to be fair, and I know I'm jumping off topic here for the podcast listeners, but our buddy Dalton Stone's a Texas fan. He's a respectful, good man. He's a Bengals fan and a Texas fan. And to be fair, Texas owes us one because that was a hell of a game last year. He's going to be at the game, and he hopes it's a shootout and may the best team win. And I'm assuming he believes Texas is the best team. I would honestly, if I had to put money on the game right now, I would say Texas also, not to go too far off topic because we're talking Bengals 53-man roster. Right. But I hope to be surprised by Julian saying. But, Arch has been around a little longer and had a little more experience in college football, even though he's not been a full-time starter. I feel pretty good that Texas has quite the squad this year. But it is at Ohio State. Maybe they get the advantage early in the season. But, man, I'm hoping for a good game. So that's my little rundown there before we jump into wide receivers for the Bengals.
As long as we're doing that rundown, let me just say that I heard the two shittiest teams in the NFL this next year are going to be the Saints and the Colts. And that Arch Manning doesn't want to play for teams that his relatives played for, so he's fucked.
Well, he's going back to school. He's not.
Well, he can go back to school, yeah.
Well, he's a legend. Go ahead. I know Dustin had something there.
I was going to say, I expect the Ohio State-Texas game to let people down in terms of the quality. I feel like it's going to be super clunky and defensive dominated. I could see a 17-13 game.
Well, and that's exactly Sage. Defense are already ready first game, so it could be a battle. And Texas got a lot of studs on their defense too. Always.
Yeah. Hill
they
and
reload.
Collins. Yeah.
Oh, Colin Simmons.
Yeah, Colin Simmons and Hill.
You were trying to morph Dylan. You were trying to morph the Dylan Stewart and Colin Simmons into one person there, Dustin.
Oh, so dude, goddamn. No,
they're both freaks.
Lawrence Taylor, bro.
Yeah.
Incredible.
But yeah, so much Bengals stuff to talk about. Maybe on Friday we'll have a little more time to talk some college football on here because, man, it's an exciting time of year when football's back all around.
Hell yeah.
Tight ends. I'm going with 4. I could see you guys maybe having a different opinion than those 4. We've been on the same page so far. And that's the thing. If you got a different list of mine when we're going around the horn, say who you would change or how you think it shakes out. I've got Gesicki, Fant, Drew Sample, and Tanner Hudson. I think it says a lot when a guy doesn't play in the preseason finale. So this is what I think the Bengals will do. And I'm okay with it. I think it's fine. But the question to me is, do they keep 5? I don't think they should. Honestly, I don't. I think that's just too many for the tight end position. When we have the receivers and the running backs we have this year, I don't see a reason to keep 5 tight ends. But I know they're going to like Cam Grandy. I know he's a great blocker. I would take the risk trying to get Cam Grandy on the practice squad. I also could see maybe Tanner McLaughlin on the practice squad, but that guy has literally shown jack shit for two years, basically. So if he's not on the practice squad, that won't surprise me. But I'm sure they want Tanner Hudson on the practice squad. And I got to keep him forward. Chop, do you feel any differently for the tight end room?
Well, the only thing I would say is you bring up an interesting point with the keeping Cam Grandy as the 5th tight end. But so my thing is that, I think it was James Rapine said it, maybe he was bringing up that idea, but his thing was the O linemen. So how many O linemen do we usually keep?
10, but I could see him keeping 9, and it's tough.
That's what I'm saying.
When we get to O-line, we'll talk about it a little more in depth there, which is coming up next.
So I'm just saying, is the shittiest O lineman we're going to keep worth keeping over Cam Grandy? You know what I'm saying? Is it worth even keeping the shittiest O-line? The last one that makes our cut. It's a question to me that I don't know. I'm cool if they keep Cam Grandy, and I'm cool if they keep that 10th offensive lineman.
I think that's a fair point because they always have another lineman or 2 inactive on game days also. They only have 8 active a lot of times. So if they only keep 9, then you're only having 1 inactive. And so, but Seth McLaughlin to me kind of clouds that picture when we get to O-line because how do you keep him off? And he's one on there. But Greg, your thoughts on tight? I think it's a great conversation, but I want to talk O-line more when we get O-line specifically. But that's a great point. I think that's how Grandy would make it if they went lighter at O-tackle.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Dustin, you know how you pointed out this is the deepest running back room we have? Well, I think this is the same for tight ends right now. Quite some time since Gresham and Eifert. I mean, solid 4 tight ends right there. Yeah, Dale and Jop, like you said, with Grandy. I don't think anybody's going to claim him, but I know the Bengals value him a lot because we saw a lot of Grandy last year. McLaughlin just didn't work out. If the Bengals had a lot of faith in McLaughlin, we wouldn't have made an attempt to go get Noah Fant right here. We wouldn't have, like we just did. So obviously, it just didn't work out. But I mean, I'm excited for this tight end class this year. This is the most loaded tight end class, honestly, that we've had since Gesicki, since Gresham and Eifert, big time. So I'm excited for this.
Yeah. This is where, when you look at like the projected 53, it gets fun because you gotta, like, you start to think it's like less about like, I guess, individual players at each position, more about like how many players do you want to roster in one position group. I think the tight end room, I think you're gonna see that be game plan dependent. So like games that we want to line up with a lot of heavy sets, you might see Cam Grandy bounce up from the practice squad. So I do think, but I also see the point of like only carrying 9 offensive linemen just because of the lack of like quality players, and having 5 tight ends. If you feel like Cam Grandy gives you more being the 5th tight end over one of the depth pieces on the O-line, in terms of like a roster, like construction, I'm all for that too. You know, it's just, this is where it gets fun and debatable. It's like, do you want to keep 10 linemen, or would you rather have 5 and 9 linemen and you dress 8 on a game day roster? I don't know. That's always interesting to see how the team puts that together.
I will say this. I feel like the league is still starved for offensive linemen, and I would feel safer about getting I'm going to get to my guy, Andrew Coker. I would feel safer about getting a Cam Grandy to the practice squad than an Andrew Coker. Personally.
Yes, I agree with that.
Because of the O-line, lack of O-line, depth league-wide. But we'll get more there. Let's hit receivers real quick before we do O-line. If they keep 6, and I think they'll keep 6, but that could depend on Jermaine Burton, honestly. If Burton goes on IR, then maybe it's just 5 for now. And then maybe you do go heavier at wide receiver that way too. But obviously Jermaine Chase, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Andre Yosevich, Jermaine Burton, assuming the knee's okay, that he re-aggravated in the game, Charlie Jones, and Mitch Tinsley, who was dressed, but they didn't play him. I mean, come on, man. The guy was phenomenal against Washington. He definitely has a roster spot to me. Does Isaiah Williams make it to this practice squad? Does he go elsewhere? Because I still like Isaiah Williams, especially as another guy who could give you some punt return if you're down Burton and Jones at some point. But he's definitely not making the 53, so that hype train is dead. How far down the depth chart is Jermaine Burton is another question I put down in my notes, because I think, is Tinsley jumping him? Is Charlie Jones jumping him for receiver snaps, even if he's healthy? And then I think Kendrick Pryor is a guy that could be back on the practice squad. I know he's been around for a bit, but he just seems like a dependable, reliable guy that you want on your practice squad. And if you need to call him up due to injury, he can come in and make some plays. So I like that. And then do they keep a Cole Burgess or Jordan Moore? I'm on the practice squad. I'm leaning no right now, but it wouldn't surprise me, depending if they're like Isaiah Williams goes elsewhere and they keep, we'll say, Kendrick Pryor, that they keep one of Cole Burgess or Jordan Moore along with it on the practice squad. Chop, your thoughts on wide receiver and how many they'll keep to the practice squad? All of the above.
I mean, wide receiver, it's a lock for Chase, Higgins, Yosevich, and Burton. I think that those 4 are the locks. I know that Burton's had a checker pass, but they aren't giving up on him. And if he is injured, he'll go on the IR. And then after that, I think you got Charlie Jones and Mitch Tinsley. And Mitch Tinsley is 100% on the roster, man. This guy didn't even sniff the goddamn grass. or the artificial turf on Saturday. There's no fucking way it's not Mitch Tinsley. And I don't think he's necessarily moved up. He's probably the last spot on what they're keeping. And as far as the practice squad goes, man, I don't know. I don't know, Dale. I'm not good enough to practice.
No, and that's fine. If you don't want to mention anything about, I will mention guys for the practice squad. You know me, I'm a complete psychopath.
Isaiah Williams, if he makes it to practice squad, that'll be a fucking mystery to me because I think he'll probably get snatched up.
He could, but I could see him making it. I mean, you just never know. Receiver's a weird position too.
Because there you got another one with the return ability is Isaiah Williams. So there's good chance that I don't think he makes the roster, the cut. But hopefully they can bring him back on the practice squad. That is one I would love to see on the practice squad is Isaiah Williams.
For sure. Greg, your thoughts at wide receiver?
I tell you what, I'm going to make a bold statement right here, man.
What is it?
I think Jermaine Burton could get traded. Wouldn't surprise me.
He's injured.
I know that job, but I'm just saying I don't like maybe when he gets healthy, I could see it happening or something like that. Just wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. But
if it's not a serious injury, somebody could still trade for him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. No, but no, like you said, 4 locks are Chase, Higgins, Yoshi. I mean, right there and all that and stuff. And
I think Charlie Jones is a lock for sure.
I don't think he gets talked about enough. Charlie Jones. I mean, like everybody talked. Tinsley did great. Obviously earned it, but Charlie Jones, man, just made some awesome plays. Just came out of nowhere. I mean, he did a hell of a job this preseason and all that. So I got to give a big shout out to Charlie Jones right there. I think he should be a lock. And I'm probably wrong about Burton. I think they're going to keep 6 receivers. I honestly.
But listen, if they do trade Burton and you can get back a guard, like a guard depth piece, I mean, you might have to consider it. I'm just saying because what has Burton shown? He's been dinged up all camp. Last year was a cluster. But, the coaches and front office, if they feel good about him, there's still potential there. We know that. And other teams know that too, which is why you could trade and get something for him.
Right. You listen, but I think they value receivers so much. They love wide receivers. I think they're going to keep 6.
Yeah, I would. I have him on my 53, but I'm not shitting on your point is what I'm saying. I think what you said was very fair. Dustin?
Yeah, agree with the 6. I did kind of float the idea too in the past of like, based upon like potential if Burton would be a good trade candidate. With that being said, I think we're slowly starting to see what his role is probably always going to be here with the Bengals, and that's a return specialist. Like
he could grow. He could grow. I don't want to say that, but for now, for this season.
Yeah, I just, you're going into year 2 and they barely put him out there that much in the preseason. I know he was injured the second. I don't know. I just kind of feel like the youthfulness of Andre still, Charlie Jones is coming into his own. I know Charlie's a little bit on the older side. You got Mitch Tinsley. Like that's just going to be a tough room to move up into to be a reliable target for Burrow. So, I mean, all for Burton and his return ability though, and utilize him that way. And honestly, a death piece, but like,
and as a deep threat at times, I still think he can take the top off of a defense, but it wouldn't be very many snaps, and the trust isn't there.
The trust is not there. Like in this, and the Bengals run a complex offense. Like you got to know your playbook, you got to know the route trees, you got to know where Burrow wants you to be. It's hard to sift the field if you don't have those. And I'm not saying like intimately I know if Burton's struggling with that this year. But I just see like the tendency on how they used him in the preseason. They got a role carved out for him as a kick returner.
Now O-line. Whoo, buddy. So I've got 10. We talked about we could see 9. I've got 10. I've got Orlando Brown, Dylan Fairchild, Ted Karras, Lucas Patrick, Amarius Mims. I think that's the starting 5 to start the season. Yeah. I think Cody Ford, Jalen Rivers, and Matt Lee, those 3 are your next 3 that are active, and the versatility of Ford and Rivers to play guard and tackle allows you to feel really good about just having 8 on game day active, to be fair. I have them keeping 10 because I liked Andrew Coker, and I hated him during the draft process 2 years ago. He was my lowest rated tackle in the draft guide 2 years ago. Last year it was Caleb Etienne. That one looked right. Coker honestly looked right, but he looks like he's developed and grown. Etienne, year on the practice squad, I feel like. Maybe he'll grow too. Scott Peters seems like he's doing some good work with these guys, so I want to give him credit. But I have Coker making it as O-lineman 9, and then I have Seth McLaughlin making it as O-lineman 10. And I've said this in every update. I think he is one of those guys you keep on the 53 so you don't risk losing him. And he's just inactive. And I know Dustin's talked about it too, that he feels like he'll basically have a redshirt type season. He looked a little rusty in his snaps that I clipped up.
Yeah.
And it's to be expected. He's a little over 9 months removed from what? An ACL surgery, like a major surgery on his knee. So he's going to need some time to get that anchor strength back, to just be back to the athlete he is, which is a big part of his game at center. But I still think you want to keep him on the 53. Just let him be inactive. If you're willing to do it for McLaughlin, why not do it for McLaughlin this season?
Yeah.
Because that's what they did last year. They kept him on the 53 and just had him inactive. And the thing with him is, a few months from now, he could be looking a hell of a lot better. Up to his health could be a hell of a lot better when he's 12 months removed from his surgery. And if there's some guys dinged up at the center position and you had him, that's a great depth piece. So that's why I have him sticking. And I have Coker over a guy like Devin Cochran, who's also been banged up. I had Cochran on my first 53-man roster just because I think they could want to keep a guy, a more natural tackle. Because as we've seen as it played out, Jalen Rivers is more of a guard. Yeah. So, and he's playing well there. Cody Ford, I think, can't play guard or tackle, but he's been dinged up. And then Matt Lee's been out all training camp, finally came back, played in the preseason game, but he's more of a center. I think he could play guard if you needed it. But that's my 10. And I think there's guys out there they could pick up. I think Etienne's a guy you want to get on the practice squad. If Coker doesn't make it, I think he's on the practice squad. If Cochran doesn't make it, I think he's maybe on the practice squad. I know Crip loves me talking about his guy. No, his guy Cochran. The cock.
Cochran.
Dalton Reiser's still out there. Reportedly, we offered him a 1-year vet minimum deal. We'll see if he don't have any other offers. Does he come in? Does he come in? Huh?
That was a report, 1-year vet minimum.
Yeah, that's what Joe Goodberry has said, and James Rapine and those guys have said that we did offer him a deal, but it's not like we didn't offer him a deal. So if no one else is offering him, and we wouldn't say, hey, you're going to be a starter. And I don't think you should guarantee a starter when they're signing this late. To be fair, if Lucas Patrick sucks and you want to toss him in, he looks good in practices, then he comes in and he starts. But, as much as I like the thought of signing Dalton Reisner, and I hope we do, I don't think that that's the way to do it. But some guys that were released, before I toss it around, I know I'm going long here with this one, but this is a position with the most to talk about, I feel like, for the 53. Guard Javian Cohen, I think he was out of Miami, Florida. Miami, Florida is getting us some guys, so I'm not opposed to bringing this guy in at guard. He was released by the Browns. I mean, we have Rivers, Matt Lee. We like those guys. Why not get another Miami, Florida guy in here and see what he can do at guard? I thought this guy was like a 5th, 6th round type prospect coming out. He's only going into his 2nd season. Then there was tackle Logan Brown released by the Vikings yesterday out of Kansas, originally at Wisconsin. I think he was a 5-star recruit back in the day. So a guy, he had a great season PFF grade wise for Kansas last year. He plays tackle. I think he could kick in and play some guard. He could give you that versatility. Maybe you make a claim on him and put him on your 53. Wouldn't hate that move. And then guard Layden Robinson. He was a 4th-round pick just a year ago for the Patriots. Who was with the Patriots as O-line coach? Scott Peters. Oh, yeah. So there's a connection there that they could potentially want this guy, and that's another guard. So there's a few guys that have already been out there released that the Bengals could show some interest in trying to claim on the waiver wire. So that's my rundown of the offensive line. Chop, that's a lot there, so take it wherever you want.
I agree with Dale. Go ahead, Greg. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't like I believe I agree with Dale, but like when you come to that right guard position, man, to be honest, like I'm just a fucking idiot, but I'm more of a layman watcher, but I thought Jalen Rivers looked good at right guard, and I thought Lucas Patrick looked like ass at right guard, and one of them is ascending and one of them is descending. So, I mean, honestly, I would love to see Jalen Rivers out there playing right guard, especially like by the 3rd game or something when he gets a little bit more reps practicing it. But as far as like depth behind that, you're right with Cody Ford, Jalen Rivers, and Matt Lee. But also, I do think that if there's only 9 and not 10, like you said, you think it's Coker and then Seth McLaughlin. I think it's Seth McLaughlin and then Coker, because I think that they got Seth for a reason, and it's because didn't he grade out high as a center?
Yeah,
So,
he won the Remington Award last year
Yeah,
at Ohio
so-
State, and he got injured and couldn't even play it toward the end of the season.
I mean, sorry about Matt Lee's luck, but I think they're going to take a real fucking good eye at Seth McLaughlin as Ted Karras's replacement when Ted Karras decides to go. So if they go 9, that's the deal. If they go 10, I don't know the other guy's good enough like you do, Dale.
We got some more cuts coming in. They just cut 11 guys. So, Greg, give us that rundown as we continue
the
to
biggest
talk
one of all
online.
that got cut, Taven Bryan got cut.
I knew it.
thought he was going to stay.
I
That's
fucking
a
knew
big
he was
shocker.
getting cut. I said
Hey,
it
so Howard Cross,
because
that woman
Good for
should have
me.
made
No,
that
you can say-
message.
boom. You fucking made a bad video about the Bengals. They're not. It ain't fucking happening unless your name's Joe Burrow. You can't talk shit about the Bengals.
Yeah.
Well,
You made that
his-
video like I didn't get a
Chap,
family
you did
pass.
call it,
Cut.
Chap, but- You did call it, Chap, but the DT, McKelvin, Nate Brooks, Cole Burgess, Quail Conley, Shaquan Loyal, Rashawn Owens, Andrew Rain, Lance Robinson, Andrew Stuber, Peyton Thorne, and Craig Young. So
Nothing
they're still alive.
surprising.
Yeah.
Nothing surprising except Taven Bryan a little bit,
Yeah.
because Bryan, the former first-round pick, he's a guy who's been in the league for a while. He's always graded out pretty well as a pass rusher. I thought he flashed some as a pass rusher, and they kicked him out the edge, that versatility. I thought they'd like it, but it was pretty telling when they had Howard, which, man, there goes light on fire. My article I did for Cincy Jungle about a 53-man roster, because I did put Bryan on it, and it's already done. It's already done.
Bro,
Already
it's not
screwed
your
up
fault.
there.
It's his wife. That mouth.
No,
and
Chap,
wife.
you did say that, Chap.
I had Howard Cross in the third, and I was like, I'm going to go with the veteran. It seems like a Bengals thing they would do, but I kind of like that. That's Al Golden. That's the defense. And, they could still make a waiver claim there. We'll get to D-line next, but let's finish up talking about O-line. So, no. I asked you to tell us the cuts because they just came in, and that is a surprising cut, especially that quick. But he's a veteran, and I can't see him going to the practice squad. He'll go somewhere else. He will.
Before I get back to the line, one interesting cut for a quarterback, Hooker, the guy out of Tennessee. The Lions did cut him to give him a fresh start. I can't see him coming as a practice squad player, but he would be intriguing to think about.
Greg, you got anything? O-line, how many you think?
O-line. Do you know, Dale? You know who the biggest O-line I'm looking for is Scott Peters. See what he does with the whole O-line this season. I mean, Dale, everything you just said, Dale, I probably totally agree with and all that. You know O-line way better than I do. Jalen Rivers impressed me at guard. Seth McLaughlin, I'm excited to see him develop. Like you say, redshirt him. Don't let him get on the practice squad.
And it's not even that maybe he takes a full red shirt, but give him time to get back healthy while he's on the 53 and let him be inactive. And, you never know what's going to happen. And Matt Lee dealt with injuries all of camp, so he could very well be the backup pretty quickly.
Right, exactly.
And you never know what else could happen, but we don't want to put that
exactly. But yeah, like I say, other than that day, I agree with you spot on, bro.
Yeah, Brian will go and get the family wristband in a parking spot.
Right, no shit, man.
No, and I said, dude, those comments, I almost reposted again, but I didn't want to give it any more attention. Because it was Bengalorian that made the original video, and I just copied his video, put the video, and it has him tagged in it then.
Yeah.
And put because you can do that. And I put, this is sad, because I just think the Bengals, they graded an F on that thing. Just to mention this real quick. For family treatment all the time. It could be pouring the rain. They're under a little tent. There's family rooms and like every other team has and all this stuff. Families are treated poor. So I think it's sad in the general aspect of how the Bengals does business. Now, did the woman need to do an 8-minute video? Probably not. But she's also 8 minutes pregnant, or 8 minutes. She's 8 months pregnant. She's 8 minutes pregnant. She literally just got pregnant. She's 8 months pregnant. She's 8 months pregnant and a lot going on. And I'm sure that was a very stressful situation. It didn't sound like it was handled well, but you also probably didn't need to put the video. So I understand the comments, and it is what it is. But I do think we should treat players' families better. Dustin, O-line.
Dale, does Kenyon Green interest you at all? Former first round pick.
Fuck no. That guy was as bad as Alex Kappa last year for the Texans. Then the Eagles trade Chauncey Gardner-Johnson for him.
Yeah.
Philadelphia has the best offensive line coach in the NFL. And he says, nah, I'm good. And they cut him. That tells you a lot. If he can't help him, no one can. I don't want to touch that. Just say personally.
That was a losing trade for both teams.
Yeah.
CJ Gardner-Johnson, isn't he out for a little bit? Or the year, maybe? I forget. But anyways, I think this is where the conversation gets interesting because it's like, how do you view Matt Lee?
Before you get into this, it's a $5 super chat, so I want to get it up here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. The Sea King of the Seas. If you're going to give a $5 super chat, I'll read it. Mace Windu survived that fall. Also, Ravens to the Super Bowl. Yeah. So saith I, Seeking. Thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Thank you for the money. Continue.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to find a lot of weaknesses on the Ravens, self-admittedly.
Greg does love him some Peters.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dustin.
No, you're good. It's an interesting conversation because the current like projection we're rostering like three centers, so to speak, Matt Lee, Seth, and obviously Ted Karras as your starter. Now, like, who are we viewing as the swing tackle if Cody Ford is playing guard and takes over for Lucas Patrick because he's maybe banged up?
And Rivers is your guard depth and the right guard, or
yeah. So I think there's going to be a lot of shopping after these cut down days and maybe even before it. So I'm fine with your current projection. I think it aligns with like where it should be, but I still think like we need to go shopping and find some suitable backups, specifically around more guard depth, a swing tackle as well. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I can't disagree. I think that one could have a lot of movement for sure. And D-line that we're getting into next. So this is edge and defensive tackle both. I've got 10. Trey Hendrickson. We'll see. Maybe it's going to be what I've said all along.
Wait a minute, he signed Saturday. Rick.
Yeah, true. But Trey Hendrickson, Miles Murphy, TJ Slayton, BJ Hill, Shamar Stewart, Joseph Osai, Chris Jenkins, McKinley Jackson. And then I have Cam Sample. And now I think Howard Cross with Taven Bryan cut. So, I would have probably said Taven Bryan, but I think Howard Cross III, Al Golden has trust in him. He has looked pretty solid at times in the preseason. But for me personally, I would not keep Cam Sample. If it was my choice, not the Bengals, I would keep Isaiah Thomas. He has looked incredible during the preseason, and he gives us a pass rush element that we don't have still, to me, at edge outside of Trey Hendrickson. And I'm including Murphy, Osai, and Stewart in that. They do not have consistent pass rush the way I think in Isaiah. And this is just, I would use him as a defensive pass rush specialist on third downs. And sometimes, wouldn't have to be all the time. But I like Isaiah Thomas. He's been a pleasant surprise throughout camp. A player out of Oklahoma. Really like him. I think Eric Gregory's another guy. Obviously, I want to have both of these guys on the practice squad. Yeah. If they're not on the 53, Isaiah Thomas and Eric Gregory. Eric Gregory at D tackle. And then Cedric Johnson. He hasn't played any preseason games. I'm a huge fan of Cedric Johnson, but this is a guy, can we get him to the IR? Do we have to put him on the 53 first? Do we take the chance of him getting claimed elsewhere? I don't know what's going to happen with Cedric Johnson. And then I'll just mention one name because I'm sure there's going to be some D tackles that the Bengals may consider even over Howard Cross that they bring in. Maybe they try to fill another spot there at the D tackle position through waiver wire. But KJ Henry, our old buddy from the Bengals last year that then got claimed by the Cowboys, he was on like our week 1 roster. Then he went back to the practice squad. A player I like coming out of Clemson, but he was released already. So just wanted to mention him and maybe there'd be some interest. So, Chop, your thoughts on the D-line room?
I mean, pretty much what you said, I guess. I would say Trey Hendrickson signs. it's going to happen. I mean, or he's going to play. And then you also got Miles Murphy, Osai, Shamar Stewart, BJ Hill, TJ Slayton. Who else you got? Let's see.
Hendrickson,
that's gonna
Murphy,
be-
Slayton, Hill, Stewart, Osai, Chris Jenkins, McKinley Jackson. Some people talked about.
McKinley
and I
Jackson,
thought-
yep, and Howard Cross.
Yeah, then Cam Sample. Do you have Cam Sample as your 10th? He didn't dress. The Bengals didn't play him. I think they're keeping him, but
Oh yeah,
he wouldn't be a lock for me.
I think they're keeping him too. My hot take was going to be that they weren't going to keep Taven Bryant just because of that video that his wife made. That was the whole basis of the thing. Like
The Bengals runned it. You were waiting for it, and the Bengals runned it.
yeah, they ruined it for me. But like they knew it right before we did the defensive line. But like I knew it when she put that video out. Like if your husband is like starting caliber, maybe, but he's at the bottom. You know what I mean? Like, is he going to make the team? And you made that video. You're just basically saying, hey, I'm pissed off that I had to stand outside and get an Uber, so we don't want to be on this team. Just say it. That's cool. They're giving out Gatorade now, though, so it's a step in the right direction.
Greg?
Dustin, I think the Bengals are listening to you. They want to get young on that defensive line and all that. Because Taven Bryan, I think it was Gridiron, that Twitter site Gridiron said he had the top pass rush out of all the DTs in the preseason. But clearly they love Howard Cross. They like Gregory. Hey, Gregory, I'm still pulling for you, buddy. I need to get that jersey. I need to get that jersey, buddy. But no. I mean, obviously they have faith in Howard Cross a lot. They like what they see in him. So, like I say, the DTs, it's a big mystery right there. I mean, I think we all know the obvious starters and all that. But, yeah, obviously, Zach Bryan, Taven Bryan, I'll be the first to tell you, I was shocked they got rid of him. I know, Chop, you called it, man. You called your shot, and they listened to you, buddy.
Yeah, I didn't care if they listened to me. I'm just saying, like,
no. I get what you're saying, Chop.
run your mouth like that, man.
I want to get this Jungle Jerry super chat to combat the super chat of the Ravens fans who gave us the super chat. And he says, Ravens choke on it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Choke on it.
Thank you, Jerry, for the super chat.
Like that fucking teacher from South Park. Miss Chokes on Dick.
Dustin, your thoughts on the D line?
Divine, he's Sample over everybody.
Okay. Hey, listen, I like Sample coming out, and I thought, he should have played more inside over the years.
Yeah.
But I just haven't seen him do it. And he hasn't flashed enough to me that he would be a lock. I don't know, but they love him, so he ain't going anywhere. So,
yeah, I haven't really seen much dialogue around like what kind of camp he had. Preseason, not a lot of snaps. So I like the idea of keeping like the pass rush juice. What I've seen from Isaiah Thomas over Sample, I don't see the Bengals doing it. So hopefully, at the very minimal, we can sneak Isaiah over onto the practice squad. I don't know, but this is the position group that I'm most bullish about. Just with Chris Jenkins, it seems like he had a better camp coming back in year 2. Obviously with Stewart, the ways that they're going to utilize him. Howard Cross, like I think you're going to slowly over the year, next year, you're going to see Al Golden get more of his type of guys in here, and obviously Howard Cross being one of those as well. So pretty excited about what this group can show. I did find it interesting, and I think Charlie Goldsmith had some comments on that McKinley Jackson had just a very inconsistent camp. They kind of rolled him out there to play a lot of snaps because they wanted to see consistency. So I still think he makes the squad, but it'll be interesting to see his utilization this year, so on and so forth. But yeah, I mean, yeah, the interesting conversation with your projection is if it is Isaiah Thomas over Sample or if it's a Sample. So we'll see.
And I'm sorry, KP from KC. I love you, brother. I did not see. I'm glad you said, did you get my super chat? Because it totally went by. There must have been a lot of comments at the same time. He says, sign Reisner and a damn safety and pay Trey. It's very simple. Dude, I don't disagree with any of that. I would sign Reisner even if he comes in and starts his depth. Depth becomes starters very quickly in the NFL. Safety we're going to get to with the defensive back, so I'll kind of save that a little bit. But I do agree. I think there's room to add a safety, especially now with Anthony injured, and I don't know if he had a job before he got injured in that last preseason game. And then Paytre, yeah, that's a conversation maybe we'll save to the end, but it's out there like it could be a one-year thing, like I've kind of talked about. Somebody said McKinley needs to get off the weed. He doesn't always look high. I mean, in some of them interviews, but
Nah, I want him on the weed. I want him on the Henny before the game. Get good and fuckered up and go out there and throw some dudes around.
He's clearly in the doghouse with how much he's playing. I don't think I can deny that at this point, but I still believe in McKinley Jackson, and I think it'd be a mistake to not have him on this 53-man roster.
Yeah, I think it was more of they're teaching him a lesson, wanting to see consistency. Because a lot of times in defense, you just need to guys to be consistent. Like, you're going to get beat. This is the NFL.
Well, and that consistency could literally be talking about in practice.
Exactly. Yeah, he sounded like from all reports that he had a very inconsistent camp, and that's why they kind of tossed him out there. And he performed well in the preseason, like from what
I thought in games he looked good, but I can't sit here and say I know what he's doing in practices, so that could be a big part of it. Why he's in the doghouse. All right, we'll move on to linebacker. Another spot. I have 5, but I know Paul Dehner had 6, and I guess it wouldn't be shocking because I think they got some good linebackers. I think that 5th spot is one we've talked about over and over being a tough one to figure out. I think Logan Wilson obviously is here, no matter if he's fallen off or not. He's one of the starting linebackers to start the season. I think Demetrius Knight is going to also start the season, assuming he's healthy. I know he missed a little practice last week. Oren Burks isn't going anywhere as a good veteran that could slide in if they feel like Knight's struggling. Barrett Carter has looked really damn good in the preseason. He's a lock at 4. But that 5th spot comes down to Shaka Hayward, Muma Jongmeta, and Joe Giles Harris. I put Shaka Hayward, but I have put every single one of these guys in a 53 projection at some point. I could see it going anyway if they only keep 5. And I think whoever they don't keep, obviously they're going to want on the practice squad if they don't get claimed or go somewhere else. Shaka Hayward, I think, would be the better guy if you needed him to play like he did against Pittsburgh at the end of the season, actually come in and play linebacker for a full game. He would be the best. But if Darren Simmons is making this decision, and I'm not saying Chuck is bad at special teams, but Jongmeta and Joe Giles Harris have been special team staples throughout their career for Joe Giles Harris and last year for the Bengals and Jongmeta. So there's a lot going on there for the linebackers. Chop, what are your thoughts on how that shakes out? Do they keep 5, 6, and who will it be?
Man, I don't know if they keep 5 or 6. Let's count them. Logan Wilson, Demetrius Knight, Barrett Carter, Oren Burks. So there you got 4, right? And so the 5th one, I think, would be, if they keep 5, I think it's going to be what I want it to be is Muma Jongmeta. That's what I want.
Because you love his name.
Yeah, I do. I love his name. I think that should be the 5th one that they keep. I know it's a big battle between, what's the guy, Giles' name? Giles. What's his name?
Joe Giles Harris.
Joe Giles Harris. That guy looked like a fucking stud in our preseason, So I wouldn't mind keeping him either.
Dale, I remember when you and I were talking about Giles Harris. I'm like, Dale, this guy's probably going to kill you. Like, hold the phone, Greg. And I think Giles was watching our show, and he's like, that fucking Greg, I'm going to show him. And he just showed up in that preseason game against the Eagles. He showed up again. So I got to, like Chop said, like, my 5th spot, it goes to Giles. Giles, I hope you're watching this, man. I hope I'm motivating you, buddy.
Yeah, you want him over.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I like Jongmeta just because he reminds me a little bit of Perfect.
He did have like 12 tackles in that preseason finale, but I mean, he played the whole game, but 12 tackles is 12 tackles. He's a special team stud. Like, there's a lot I like about Jongmeta. I won't be mad about any of the 3. Like,
no.
And if they keep 6 and keep 2 of the 3, I won't be mad because they're good players.
Yeah, I know you saw they rolled Shaka Hayward out as one of the captains for the Colts game.
Yeah, I heard it. Well, I didn't notice it, but on Paul Dehner thing that you sent me, then I listened to it and they talked about it. So I was like, yeah, that is
kind of significant. I do think there is a world in which you can keep 6 linebackers because you can kind of just think about Jongmeta as like your special teamer ace. So it's like kind of you almost more counting on him for that. And then Shaka Hayward would fill in if, one of the frontline guys went down within that depth rotation. So I could see a world in which we keep 6 linebackers. And again, that might go back to just keeping 9 offensive linemen too.
Plus, Al Golden loves his linebackers.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, John Meta, tackling machine. I think he, like you said, Dale, 12 this past game, 10 the week before. Always around the ball. There was a few times in the Colts game where I think his lack of that athleticism showed in space, but for the most part, like rundowns, the dude's going to get downhill to make tackles. I mean, Shaka Hayward, he delivers a boom too. I think he played really well against the Steelers in that game last year. So, the arrow's up on him too.
Yeah, I'm a big Shaka Hayward fan. And I've kind of thought maybe he wouldn't make it because I see Giles Harris and John Meta do more on special teams. And that linebacker 5 sometimes can be a Darren Simmons spot. But I hope they keep Shaka because that means maybe Al Golden sees what I see in that guy, that he's got the potential. I mean, ever since he came out of Duke as undrafted free agent, every opportunity he's had to play snaps at linebacker, I thought he's looked good for us over the last couple of seasons. So I like the kid. Defensive back. I have 10. I have Dax Hill, and this is corner and safety. I have Dax Hill, Cam Taylor-Britt, DJ Turner, Josh Newton, Marco Wilson. That's my 5 corners. I think they go – 6. Sorry. DJ Ivy also. Don't want to forget DJ Ivy. I know he's had some not so great moments during preseason games, but I think overall his spot's pretty safe as cornerback 6. And then I have 4 safeties, Jordan Battle, Geno Stone, Tyson Anderson, and depending on Stone's injury, if he's fully healthy or whatnot, I think he'll be back by week 1, but Tyson Anderson could be starting in place of Stone. And then I have PJ Jules over Dejon Anthony because I'm not sure. Anthony's now dinged up, and I'm not sure that Anthony would have made it over PJ Jules anyways. You talk about a dude that just loves to fucking lay that fucking lumber. That's PJ Jules. This guy he just wants to hit people, and I love that.
Bro, that's all you need on defense sometimes. Guys to fly around and fucking hit people. Let's go.
Yeah, like you come over the middle and I'm going to smack you in the fucking mouth.
Yeah.
Type shit, So I think he's done enough that he could earn that spot, but it's also still a position I could see them going out and I could see them signing a veteran, or I could see them still scouring the waiver wire to bring another safety in, especially a coverage type safety. Is what I'm thinking. So we'll see with that. And then Braylon Lux, I just want to mention he's not on my 53 projection, but I've seen quite a bit out of him that solidly want him on the practice squad, want to develop him for a year and see if he can end up being on this team in the future as a Mike Hilton clone, a Mike Hilton 2.0, because he's pretty solid. Maybe even a little better. I mean, Mike Hilton wasn't bad in coverage. He just got a little older. But really like Braylon Lux. Think there's a lot there. I'll mention Zy Alexander just because he's from Chop School of LSU. But this guy's already bounced around to like 3 teams since being an undrafted free agent. So clearly he's not doing well. But I did like him and his LSU tape last season.
Yeah, he's a stud, that guy. He should make it. He should be our starting safety.
No, he should join the team. I said as like a waiver wire.
The team be our starting safety, Dale. He should be.
Yeah, he's not. He's a cornerback. Chop.
He can do both. He's from LSU.
Love this guy so much. I have no idea anything about him.
In LSU, they train football players, Dale. Just give him a position. Joe Burrow could play safety if he wanted to because he went to LSU. He just chooses to play quarterback. For the love of God.
Yeah, your thoughts on?
I think you're right, and I think PJ Jules is a name that's really come up this off season, throughout the training camp. So I can see him making the team. I wish they'd bring in a goddamn go hit the waiver wire, man, and bring in a free agent, to tell you the truth. Like, I don't know who the top free agents are out there right now, but I certainly wouldn't mind having someone on here as a depth piece or as a starter to replace Geno Stone if he's not doing great. I mean, to be honest, Jordan Battle didn't look too spectacular either in the preseason.
No, I have to agree with that. Safeties are a little worrisome right now.
As far as the cornerbacks go, I think you're right. It's going to be Cam Taylor-Britt, Dax Hill, Josh Newton, DJ Turner, and then DJ Ivy, and then
Marco Wilson.
Did
you say Marco Wilson?
I would say Marco Wilson for you, Dale, because I love you. Marco Wilson.
Yeah, Marco Wilson. I mean, he looked good. He had a nice pass breakup, and he's a guy
kid.
who has looked good in camp too.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm going to keep saying this, like Chop said. Justin Simmons or Asante Samuel Jr., please come here. And you know what I would do to both of you? Take you both to Midwest Best Barbecue, get some wings, proud sponsor of the show. And along with that, I will get you 2 shirts from the Chop Shop. Another proud sponsor of the show, and I'm wearing one right now. Justin Simmons, Asante Samuel Jr., Stephon Gilmore, please get the fuck over here right now.
Yeah, please.
Oh my.
For vet minimum.
My.
And please instruct your wife to not make some shit video about how the Bengals didn't let her in the stadium.
That too.
Yeah.
No videos.
Right. Bitch about it after the signature.
Yes.
We're not against your side. We agree, but just don't make the video.
Yeah, this is the position group I have the most concerns about, even more so than the offensive line. Dejon Anthony just didn't show that growth going into year 2. It sounded like, by all accounts, not a great camp either. Jordan Battle, Geno Stone. I mean, that I just keep going back to those athletic scores and being able to cover ground in the Al Golden defense when you're left on islands. This group really concerns me. I mean, Josh Newton and DJ Ivy, maybe they looked good in practice on the field, covering basic slants and out routes. Struggled with that too. The
whole defense looked great in practice. Remember, we got fucking top defense in the league in practice.
Yeah, I mean, you need Cam Taylor-Britt to be consistent throughout the whole year. I mean, Dax Hill coming back from an injury. A lot of concerns here, guys. I just, I don't know. Like, it's just, I'm very concerned by this group. I do think there's an opportunity, to your point, Jules. I would definitely keep him over Dejon Anthony. Maybe you give Anthony a year on the practice squad to kind of figure stuff out. I don't know. It kind of seems like it's just trending in the wrong direction with him and this coaching staff. Even since that Kansas City game last year, it just didn't even seem like he got on the field that much after that. So not really counting on him. I do like what we saw from Lux and Jules. Actually sounds like a cool nickname. So it'd be cool to figure out how to maybe get those guys in the practice squad or on the field, so.
All right. Well, last thing is specialists. We know our kicker's McPherson, our punter is Rico. I think Kyle Adamitis is our long snapper. No. I think the Bengals would like to have William Wagner on the practice squad. So we'll end it with specialists here for our 53-man roster. How do you feel, Chop?
I feel like it's going to be Wagner's going to be the starting snapper. I think that Evan McPherson said he doesn't see a difference between either snap. And I think that Wagner was rated higher than Cal Alamitis coming out, right?
And Wagner's probably cheaper now.
And he was a fucking baller on special teams. This dude was all the way downfield making fucking tackles after he'd snapped the ball.
This man made 1 tackle, and Chop says he's
How many Cal Alamitis make? How many tackles for Cal Alamitis?
I don't know. I have to look it up.
0.
Probably.
I don't know. 0. But still, I thought that Wagner looked good. I think it's probably going to be Wagner. I think Cal Alamitis was put in there because of your best friend got hurt, right?
Yep.
And it wasn't like they picked Cal Alamitis. It was just like that was the guy. And I think they picked Wagner.
To me, It's a coin flip. Someone just flip a coin. I really don't care who snaps the well. I think both did well. I mean, I think it's going to be Cal Alamitis just because he's got the experience and all that. Uncle Rico had when I was at training camp, he was booming punts, picked up right where he left off last year. So shout out to Uncle Rico. And McPherson just kicked. I don't know why you had to change what you did from your rookie season when you did just fine. But I'm glad to hear the fact you're going back to how you started. So just keep. But like I say, man, don't fix something that was working. That's all I can say.
No, McPherson, let me just say this too, once again, is that he had a lot on his fucking mind last year. And he has said that last year he had a lot of mental shit going on. His brother was dying.
Oh, yeah.
Last year.
True.
So
that's true.
This year his brother's doing fine. And so hopefully that mental
Chop,
part of it.
Thank you for pointing that out, Chop. You're right. So, yeah, so hopefully you see him back because he's a good dude, Evan is.
I want that Evan that goes, when we were in the AFC Championship game,
yes,
and it would come down to the field goal, and he was going on field, said, we're going to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
That's the McPherson.
That's what I want.
Mhm. Yeah, we need him to return to form. I mean, looking at our schedule, we're going to have a lot of battles like we did last year where a field goal kick could be the difference. He makes a few of those last year, we're in the playoffs, so we need to get him back to his rookie season because he's actually trended down every year since his rookie season. Like he had a good second year, but it's kind of trended in the wrong direction. So it's nice to see him so consistent, getting back to what he did in terms of like his technique. And then from like a snapper standpoint, I just want to keep it consistent and not rock the boat too much there. So Adamitis is fine with me.
So that's all I have on the 53.
Outlier. I do think it's going to be Wagner. We'll see how it shakes out.
Another thing to add, with a lot of these kickoffs ending up on the 35-yard line, we get a couple of first downs. We're already in field goal range. So, like, even more, I think we're going to need Evan even more this year because, like, the way our offense can move, we always want touchdowns, but, you're in field goal range pretty quickly these days.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's a wrap-up for the 53-man roster. I mean, the news got in here now about Taven Bryan, but it did not get in before my article was posted to Cincy Jungle about the 53, so don't hate on me too much if you go read that article. I am doing some writing for Cincy Jungle, so little plug here. Got a few articles out there already. Gonna just enjoy it, man. I'm excited for the opportunity. It's fun. Love talking Bengals on here. Gonna write some articles for you guys on Cincy Jungle, so check them out. Support your boy.
It's because you're a fucking badass, Dale.
Yeah, appreciate it.
You're bad.
Can I add something here? I hate that the narrative is release Taven Bryan because of his like the little social media. I don't.
Well, Chop started it. So.
Yeah, but it's all across social media. I don't think that went into the decision.
No.
Let's be
100% it went into the decision, man. Like literally, like they put
I'm not sure it did.
I don't. You think Al Golden?
Howard Cross was already getting reps with the second team. We've talked about it on here, which is why I had Howard Cross, and I'm mad at myself for changing it because I was like, I seen everyone else putting Taven Bryan. I ain't gonna lie, I seen everyone else putting Taven Bryan, and I go, that does seem like what the Bengals would do is keep the veteran and get Cross to the practice squad.
I'm not saying it was the deciding factor, but it was a factor. Like the Bengals don't like when you talk shit. Like it's in when this whole Shamar Stewart thing brought it up. Like he said that stuff in the locker room about the Bengals want to win arguments better than more than games, right? That's stuff that in the contract that he can't say, or he could get fined or whatever because it's like detrimental to the team because you're now.
I don't think it had anything to do with the decision. I don't. I
don't. It obviously didn't help. I'm not saying it did, but I don't think it helped.
This is just my Bengals PTSD, though, and it goes along with exactly what Taven Bryant's wife was saying, is that they're fucking petty. And it's hard for a guy that's 53 years old that's been dealing with this team my entire fucking life to think that they didn't take something as petty as that into their decision.
But Dale,
hopefully you guys are all right.
I think Taven Bryan's an average football player, and Howard Cross has way more upside.
Yes, Dale, like you said, you kept pointing out Howard Cross and like his connection with Golden. You were
also
that for the longest time.
Maybe it's a coincidence, but Howard Cross's partner didn't go on social media make an 8-minute shit video about the Bengals.
Chop's not letting it go. He's not going to let it go.
But no, Dale, you kept harping on Cross big time. So yes.
Well, let's talk a little Trey Hendrickson to end this, then we'll get out of here. So real quick,
Rick when we need him.
Well, report from Jordan Schultz that they're trying to get unique with the contract, and that could even be something like paying him more money this year, and then he hits the open market next year, basically, is the gist of it. I feel like someone has said that 4,800 times on this show that they could see that scenario. It was me. I said that.
Yeah, right.
That's how I could see it playing out because both sides seem very dug in. And it also gave both sides a bit of an out. Trey said, I'm not playing under my current contract.
That's what I said too.
So if you double his pay, if he's making 16 to 18 and you double that for this season, He's not going to play under his current contract. But he's also, like you've talked about, Chop, not going to set out the season. He's not built that way. He's ready to get in there and play. So it made the most sense for a compromise because the Bengals can't figure out guaranteed money. And I know Dustin will talk about he don't think the Bengals should give him guaranteed money into years 2 and 3, especially 3 at his age. So it's a compromise both ways to just double his pay, get him in there for this season, and go from there. Now, I don't know what happens if there's a handshake agreement that they won't put the franchise tag. Because if it's a handshake agreement, the Bengals probably still might put the franchise tag if he goes out there and has 20 sacks this season. They're not gonna hold up a handshake agreement.
Yeah, if we all hear there's a handshake agreement and Trey does 20 sacks, we're all saying franchise tag.
Yeah, exactly. I don't see where is that even legal? Can you do that? Say we have an agreement, we're not going to franchise tag you. I mean, come on, right?
No, it's not legal. That's the whole point. Like, it's just a handshake. So at the end of the year, the Bengals can still franchise tag him if they wanted to.
Yeah. When I see the word unique, I'm like, good Lord, what the hell does that mean? Eh?
It kind of said what.
Yeah, I know.
Go ahead, Dustin. I know.
It will be funny though, because Trey's whole thing was long-term stability, and the Bengals are like, hey, we'll double your salary this year. And then he's like, oh, yeah, sure. And fucking signs it.
The same thing as fucking
because he wants to play, and he still is sticking by his word. That's the thing. He wants to play, but he also doesn't want to play at $16 to $18 million this season. I know it's the cap hit 16, and the contract's closer to 18.
And that horse is ready for battle, apparently.
I think the Bengals were offering him an upgrade on his salary the whole time. I think it was more he wanted a more longer term extension.
And if it's not going to get there, he's the one caving. But I don't want to even put that out in the world because then he might not do it.
Yeah. I see your point.
Well, week 1. I want to get off to a fast start. I want that figured out now so he can be practicing.
Yeah, I want him here today. Like, I really want to have him on the field. I don't want to hear, I'm not in football shape. No, we got 2 weeks. Let's get it going.
He said he's a horse ready for
no
battle.
Excuses.
Bible.
No excuses. No more excuses. Performance. And with these contracts, I need all these dudes performing in the playoffs when we get there. I need big plays, I need sacks. I need strips. That's all part of the contract. Nonetheless, if they come to this compromise, I think it's a win-win. I mean, if I'll share this graph with you, Dale, and we can deliberate on this on another show. If you look at the statistic from PFF, a pass rush run rate of 30-plus-year-olds over the last 15 years, there's quite the significant drop-off. I'm not saying I want to trade him. I want Trey back. He's a warrior. But I do think this is a smart move, that this is what it comes to be. Now, it does suck if we wasted all the time doing this in the meantime, too, only to come to this kind of deal. But it is what it is at this point.
That's the off season, we got real football coming back, so we're all excited. But man, what a fun show! What a freaking packed show for conversation, because this is when it gets fun. Yeah, and I'm excited, and I really do appreciate anybody tuning in. And hit that like and subscribe button
right now. God damn it!
Well, you don't have to do it this second,
okay,
but so you don't forget. Yeah, and be nice about it.
Please hit that
like and subscribe for Dale's After Hours, where he takes his shirt off and goes through the draft guide.
He does.
Because boy, I got some week 0 players to talk to you about. Dale.
There's so much, Yeah, and Dalton, OH baby, OH.
I-O.
So, fun matchup. Talk about all that. More about that on Friday. We'll talk about what actually happened, because all the moves are going to happen tomorrow for the cuts and waiver wire pickups on Wednesday. Maybe the Trey situation is resolved by the time we have a show on Friday. And a lot of fun stuff to talk about again on Friday, man. But I really appreciate everybody that tunes in to watch us be degenerates and have some fun on a Monday. You guys are the best, Brew Crew. We love you. And Houday and everybody have a fantastic week.